Okay, well, fine. I'm glad that we're back too.
I'm glad you're back. It's good to have you back.
It's been a minute. So, for those of you who don't know, I have not been involved with Mind Tank for about 2 weeks now. I've been involved with Mind Tank, obviously, but like editing, recording, it's all been Heather on the back end side. So again,
So if it's been a bit bad,
Oh
that
my
you know
goodness.
why, you know.
again, I appreciate everything you did while I was gone.
It's all good. I'm more than happy to take over for a little bit.
Right, so this week we come back with an interesting topic, something that we're both not really too experienced on. We did some research prior to the episode to be respectful to
Respected communities that are around it.
So again, today we're talking about manifestation, astrology, and shifting. We don't know too much on shifting, so it's going to be a brief little conversation we have. But yeah,
Welcome to episode 9. Let's get spiritual.
Yeah. What is your not astrology sign? What is your sign? What is your sign? I know that can be disrespectful to some people, but
which side? Like
which sign?
Planet? We'll get into that. There's like a lot of planets and you have a lot of different signs, but my star sign, which I think is your most dominant sign, I am an Aries. I'm a fire sign.
Right. Okay, cool. I am a Sagittarius. I am predominantly, I think, what did it say? I was water.
A Sagittarius is a fire sign.
Oh, okay, but overall the whole chart, I'm
your overall chart.
Yeah,
I see.
water.
Overall, my chart, I'm predominantly fire sign.
Which is interesting. We got into, we looked into that a little. Yeah, especially with
some
the
interesting
North Node.
things to say about us.
Yeah.
God, not my North Node.
We won't get into that right yet, but no, yeah, learning this. Okay, so astrology, I won't say it's been I've known about it for a very long time. I knew the star signs at least, not what astrology was. My parents always said that that we shouldn't trust the horoscopes. However, they would wake up every day and read it because we had DirecTV, and for some reason on the Weather Channel, they gave us horoscopes on the Weather Channel.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know how they calculated the right horoscopes. I'm not too sure, but no, yeah, it was the craziest thing because I remember reading them and it was like finding them so fascinating. Like the most ironic thing was reading them before church, which was it's so ironic.
Polar opposites almost.
The irony. I love irony.
It's so great, especially something like that.
God.
So, I mean, I'm guessing you're not really big into astrology then, like believing that you know, the planets and the astrology and the constellations affect how you are as a person, and the time and place that you were born to a T, to a minute, determines the sort of person you end up being for life.
I personally, I mean, I'm open-minded about a lot of things. It's just I've experienced how people develop from their influences. I've witnessed that to like a degree in myself, to people around me. It's just something I can't, it's just not something yeah. Other than that though, again, like I said, I'm open-minded. I'd have to learn more about it, I think, just for me to like strictly say, oh, that causes this. But for now, I'm just on the fence about it, more or less. You, though, on the other hand,
I'm not big into it. I'm a person of science, so for me there's just not really any proof that these retrogrades and, constellations can affect how a person is. I mean, I would like to think that we as people are in full control of the people that we become and who we can be and our full potential, and so to think for a second that that'd all be determined and already decided based off of the time and place you were born and how the stars were aligned on that very night or morning or evening, it's hard to believe. There are some very, very scary similarities between between my traits personally and my star sign stuff, which we'll get into, which is a little bit weird. I'm not completely gonna like poo-poo it. I'm not gonna say it's not real, because at the same time, you can't prove to me that it's not real. So I'm also pretty much on the fence. But it's a very, very interesting thing to look at, because it is completely unlike religion. It is a completely other way of thinking, really. And it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's scary how accurate it can be sometimes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There are some scary similarities.
We were going over this one chart that it gave us, and it's like, this can be off, so this isn't like this is to be taken with a grain of salt. It says it in its disclaimer. It's like, this isn't like concrete evidence or anything. It's like this. It's the psychological profile is what it calls it, and it gives a list of things.
A list of traits.
Yeah, a list of traits. Whether that be I really don't know how to address these generally, but I'll put a picture on the screen right here. But and for the Spotify listeners, I'll try to explain this the best as I can. It's like the difference between being narrow-minded, open-minded, independent, cooperative, authoritative, submissive, stuff like that. And some of these we found to be really, really true, and some we just found to be super, super off.
Yeah. I mean, according to this, I am more unemotional than emotional, and I don't know. I think
that's just cold-hearted.
I'm too emotional sometimes.
Yeah, mine just basically told me I was lazy, and I mean,
I'll argue against that. You're probably one of the least lazy people I know.
In some aspects, though, like last night, I was a little lazy. So I mean, yeah. In all honesty, it's somewhat accurate, but again, like, which one was it? Organized and chaotic. I am the most unorthodox, unorganized person I've ever met. So you're wrong.
It had it for both of us. It had both of us as really organized, apparently, which we're not. Like, we only started looking into this about 10 minutes before we were starting to record. We were completely unprepared before like 20 minutes ago. That does not say organized to me.
Oh, God. It's like a big slap in the face. It's like, oh, you think you're this? Too bad. No, yeah. It, again, looking at all this stuff has been not hilarious, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna give me a what do you call it? A midlife crisis, or not a midlife crisis?
Quarter life crisis already.
Yeah. What is it called? A
existential crisis.
Thank you very much. I have them every other week and just can't remember the names of them.
I mean, one thing it did have like right for both of us is it's put us on the sociable side as opposed to egocentric, which you know I'm not opposed to. I quite like that, and I would agree with that. I think we're both very sociable people.
Try to be, at least. I mean,
yeah,
like we discussed, there's been some instances where I've tried to make friends, and it's just been shot down very, very in my face almost. You know what I mean?
Your dentist story.
Oh God, yeah. So there was this time at the dentist. It was more or less the orthodontist, and they took us back in like groups because like it was weird how they did it. Not really, but they were taking us all back in a group, and I was making a joke about like because obviously when they do orthodontist work, it's gonna hurt for a little bit after a while, and I made a joke about it, and like the person was like, she looked at me kind of strange. I'm like, okay, fine. And then I was like tried making a general conversation with the person behind me, and like he was just not for it, man. And I was like the first time I was like, ouch. I realize now why that
maybe he had a toothache and he didn't want to talk.
Fair enough. It's just making friends, I guess, has always come easier to me with people older than me. I am
the exact same.
Yeah. And I don't mean this in any like creepy way. It's just ever since I was like 13, 14 years old, I've always had friends that are like a year, 2, 3 years older than me, and it's like I don't know, I guess that's not really the most ideal for having friends. Having peers at least.
Yeah. I mean, see, for me, I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings, and so I naturally gravitate towards adults more. Not, I had no problem making friends my own age in school,
Right.
but I had a sure as hell hard time keeping them because I just, everyone was so childish and petty, and I can't be bothered for that. It's exhausting. Whereas,
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with older, more mature people, you don't usually find that. And naturally, I was around adults more anyway. When I wasn't at school, most of the time I was around my, senior family members, whether it'd be my parents, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, older cousins. And so I naturally just kind of learnt the gift of the gab almost, of being able to talk and communicate with adults more, which I think, in a way it's set me up for success because it means that I'm very independent and I don't really have social anxiety when it comes to like ordering things, making appointments, stuff like that. Like
Must be nice.
I'm good to go, raring to go on stuff like that.
No, yeah, that must be real nice, huh?
It is pretty freeing.
You mentioned how you can like tell the difference between someone older and younger than you, their maturity level. I think creating content, especially in the side that I'm on, I won't mention it. However, my audience is pertained to kids, so when I interact with my comments or people in stream, it's just like I almost can tell, like I can almost tell the maturity.
Feel the difference in maturity levels.
Yeah, it's odd because if I'm talking, I can tell, like, by the way someone types or the way someone talks, their maturity level, which kind of gives me a good idea on, like, if they're any much younger than me or older than me, because there's been people that are, just as old as me that have a higher there's been people that are younger than me with a maturity level beyond me, which is surprising, but then again, I can, it's so easy to tell when you experience, especially growing up with people older than me. Like, again, it's just so almost easy to tell someone's age difference, like, or their maturity level difference, and it's so draining, to put it lightly.
Do you ever feel with your streams, because you have a majority child-based audience, which is the complete opposite to mine, do you ever feel like you're almost, I don't want to say babysitting, but like, like you're taking care of the young'uns,
Not necessarily, because thankfully, in some aspect, the community that I'm in has kind of set, like, this baseline of, like,
a
what
standard
not
to adhere to.
Yeah, pretty much. But, like, at the same time, if there ever is that instance where somebody comes in and they're, like, uneducated on something, I don't personally mind educating them. So, again, a common trait in, I guess, both of our communities, not really, but it's just uneducation and, like, misinformation. Like, I think a big thing in the gaming scene is, like, sexism is just on the fly, you know what I mean? And it's been a big...
God, you do not need to tell me about that. I've got too many stories.
Yeah, like I said, it's just something, they say evil isn't born, it's taught, and that is explicitly true. There is barely anybody in our community that is, like, it's almost irreparable, but it is repairable at the same time. So if somebody comes into my chat or my stream, it's like, and they want to say, oh, they're trash because they're a gamer or girl, I immediately, no, let's not do that. Explain, break down, let's get on the right train of thinking, you know what I mean? So in that sense of aspect, I don't mind, I guess, babysitting. It's more or less teaching and helping, I guess, just set a different example, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it is the way now that the younger generation is going to learn and develop their thoughts for themselves. Beforehand we had, like, movies and TV shows and other mediums such as, like, school and stuff like that to kind of get our own ground thoughts on life and the sort of people we want to be and how we want to treat others. And I think that with the growth of social media and also just content creation, video gaming, streaming, all of that being such a huge entertainment platform for minors, because majority that's what it's sort of targeted to now. That's the majority viewer base that you're going to find, like on Twitch. If you go to Ludwig or XQC, like the majority of his viewer base are not 20-year-olds. They're not my age. They are 14, 15 young people that are kind of getting into their own mind and figuring out the kind of people they want to be. And so I think it's important for us as content creators to lead by example and to set the building blocks for life the best way that we can for the future generation, because if we're not going to do it and if we're not going to do it right, then it's just going to cause an entire new generation of bigoted people that, you know, don't really care about others and have no compassion. And that's not a world I want to live in. So props to you, to be honest. It's a respectful thing, because a lot of content creators don't touch on topics and are afraid to touch on topics because they don't want to bring politics or racism or whatever to their entertainment, which I guess in some ways I can understand, because they want to separate entertainment from important social matters. But at the same time, if I don't say something, someone else is going to teach them, and they're going to do the wrong thing, and they're going to teach them how not to act. And so if I can say something, do something, or, you know, suggest or educate others to help improve, then why wouldn't you, you know? I think it's important that we do that.
I can understand wanting to create a safe space from some of the world's problems, but then again, even just having the acknowledgement that it's a very real problem in the real world, because I think something people honestly forget is that online social interacting is very different from in real life social interacting, and we have to keep 100%. These precedents and ideals in mind. It's like people are so comfortable behind the screen, it's almost scary. And I mean, okay, fair enough, but like
almost as if people feel like there aren't consequences to whatever is said online, like it doesn't affect the outside world, which is in fact total BS, by the way, if I watch it, to those of you watching this, because employers will go through your social media and look for stuff like that, and it will be the difference between you getting hired or not. So if you don't want to live in your parents' basement and you want to be able to, you know, support yourself and get a job, maybe don't be a dick on the internet.
Yeah, I'm glad, and as time's gone along, this has become more of a predominant thing. It's become more, if we introduce real-life consequences for online things, I don't really see it setting us back. I don't see it, like, reversing the damage that's already been done. However, I do see it as, like, a step in the right direction as to what could be done. And, I mean, again, I was going to touch on TikTok being like pretty much a cesspool for like these creators who can literally do and say as they please, whether it's right or wrong. And I mean, I'm a TikToker, so like it's kind of like shooting myself in the foot here. However, a lot of negative can come out of that platform. And I mean, again, no disrespect to them. It's not really their fault. It's just what TikTok is now. And again, if they don't start cracking down, it's only going to get worse. And it's a cesspool of like, it's terrible. To put
Twitch, unfortunately, have had the same sort of issues. You know, Twitch is my platform. I'm a Twitch streamer. It's predominantly what I do. And there are a lot of accounts of just people becoming Twitch partners, which is a very, very difficult thing to get. They're very, very picky on who they accept to be Twitch partners, because it is the most, you know, the highest form that you can represent the platform without being an ambassador. And it means that you earn more and you have better opportunities on the platform. And there are a lot of requirements statistically that you have to reach to get to it. And there's a lot of people that have been given partnership and then have been found out to be racists, bigots, sexist, have gone out of their way to harass other smaller streamers in a discriminatory manner. and the only punishment they got is their Twitch partnership status taken away. They
At
didn't
that
get a
point-
platform ban. They didn't stop that. Getting a partner status removed does not stop your ability to earn money on the platform, which
Nope.
for that sort of behavior I think you should get, because if you can get banned on YouTube for that sort of behavior, then the same sort of standard should apply to all platforms. We shouldn't have varying standards of what is societally acceptable and
Yeah.
what is good etiquette on the platform for different platforms. I think that's stupid.
I mean, look at David Dobrik, for example. Ironically enough, he had his monetization tab. Oh my god, no. He had his monetization tab stripped from him. He's no longer able to make money on YouTube, and
Until he makes a new account and gets that like to however many subscribers, though. Surely,
I'm not sure, because again, once you verify with YouTube, I'm sure they'll realize that it's like, hey, boom, you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
I don't know, spam account, fake name, and then he just not make IRL videos.
Pretty much, I guess. Maybe.
David Dobrik, don't take that. Don't do that. This is not giving you ideas for earning money. Be gone.
Yeah. Again, I think that's a good basis. Like, I mean, yes, people can change, but there is a line. There is a fine line between who we allow to continue to influence and set and lead the charge. So
100%.
I don't want to directly say strip the person of their platform, but at the same time,
I'll say it then. Strip the person of the platform. I don't care. David Dobrik and many others like him that have, you know, I mean, God, there's James Charles, who I have to say like loosely is allegations. I don't think there's any, like, it's nothing set in stone. He's not been, you know, sent to court over this. He's not been prosecuted over this, but he has been, you know, fiddling around with minors, messaging minors.
I am
with
Carson.
Intense. I am Carson as well. All of these people, do we really want to trust our children to be able to watch these people? I mean, David Dobrik almost killed a man because he wanted views. Why should we allow those people to continue to represent us? Because these are people, bear in mind, that are not just the biggest on their platform, but are also getting exposure on the platform or of the platform from other mediums too. These are people that have been on like late night shows that are huge in America, that brings more hype to the platform and brings less stigma to content creation.
They're mainstream.
Exactly. It mainstreams content creation, but these are not the people that should be representing us, because it gives us a bad name. Not everyone's on the platform to, you know, to be in it for themselves and to be a money-grabbing predator.
Right.
I don't think these people should be the ones allowed to represent us the most.
It's contradicting that, again, anybody can do YouTube. Anybody can do this, that, and the third. I mean, I can't really say anybody can do Twitch, but because of its, anybody can stream, but not everybody can make it there because of how restrictive it can be. So
anybody can do TikTok. Anybody can do YouTube.
Exactly. My point being, I don't think there should be qualification you need to meet. However, how do we how is there not a better way to prevent people like that from escaping the loophole and like breaking to the top without introducing some way to like we can't just like loose-handedly trust everybody that gets there to like not be this bad person, you know what I mean? And hopefully with how not society but online, how people treat creators online that do get exposed to these things, like I Am Carson or James Charles or
cancel culture.
Yeah, hopefully that scares people into I don't want to say scare people into being good people, but like at the same time,
it keeps them in check.
Yeah, it keeps them in check.
And I don't think that is a bad thing. I think if anything, you know, there's good and bad to cancel culture. Sometimes it goes too far over things that just really shouldn't have been brought up, and it's like 12 years ago someone said something and they've since apologized publicly for it, and yet it gets brought up again. And, you know, like, how long are you going to hold a grudge against someone for something if they are trying to change in that manner? But there are some things that I just can't accept and can't move on from, and you know, anything against minors is one of them. Like, James Charles, any of those predatory have spoken to underage fans asking for disgusting things and just anything. I just think, you know, like, it's scary almost, the amount as well that end up big content creators and then it comes out to light that they're predators.
Yeah, we had that problem that majority of the people who have who have gained a literal fan base off of, whether that be TikTok or YouTube, who have a lasting influence, turn out to usually be not that great of people. I mean, I think we can look at majority of the let's take that boxing match we had last week, for example. Majority of the TikTokers on that side had not come without their controversies. I think the only one, what was his name? Vinny Hacker.
Vinny. Mm-hmm.
Vinny was the only unproblematic person in that ring. I mean, I'm not talking about just on YouTube or TikTok.
He's also the only one that won, by the way. Which is deserved. Like, I rate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, not to touch into it dramatically, but I mean, Deji really didn't do his part on the training side. So, I mean, I don't think Deji should be too hard on himself at that. You know what I mean? So, again, regardless, no, like, there was...
He wore out too quick. That's all it was.
Yeah, his stamina was down. What were we talking about? Again, Vinny Hacker was the most unproblematic person in the entire arena that night. So, it kind of goes...
Even all of the casters had their controversial Keemstar, Boozy Tube.
Yeah. Again, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how we're going to learn to deal or just manage it. You know what I mean? Because there's got to be change, because as much as gaming and esports and streaming and content creation have come into the mainstream in the past couple years, we're in such a fragile position. I'm scared it could just be easily taken away from us just as quickly if
the wrong people mess it up for us.
Right, exactly, because there's already people publicly slandering content creators and esports athletes for their own respective roles because of people like James Wan or people like David Dobrik, for two really big examples of fuck-ups.
Or if we're talking about TikTok, only JS.
Oh yeah, only JS, or Bryce Hall.
TikTok versus Twitch boxing match. JS, I will box you. Give me a year to shed the weight.
We've really diverged, haven't we?
We have. Let's get back to
we went down a rabbit hole. Yeah,
I know. We started on a tangent. We started ranting too much. So, with astrology, getting back on topic, there are a lot of planets within astrology, and they all kind of control different aspects of your life. We have your sun, your moon, your rising, your Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and your North Node. Pretty much every single planet within our solar system, it affects you and how you are, allegedly. So my chart, for those of you that are wondering, I am an Aries sun, a Capricorn moon, a Virgo rising, an Aries Mercury, an Aries Venus, a Sagittarius Mars, a Jupiter Gemini. My Saturn is in Taurus. Uranus is Aquarius. My Neptune is Aquarius. My Pluto is Sagittarius. And my North Node is Cancer.
We're almost similar in the last few aspects because my Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all the same as yours, ironically enough.
Oh.
Yeah, and each sign represents something different, like a different aspect of your... Would it be celestial body? I don't know if I could explain it as that. No?
I guess. Your trait makeup, your desires, everything. So your sun, I think, is... hang on, I have a list. So, so your sun controls your will, integrity, and self-actualization. Your moon is about your emotions and sense of self-preservation, as well as your nurturing side and your paternal instincts. Your Mercury is all about relationships, whether it is family, friendship, or more, just any sort of relationships that you have within your life. Your Venus is about beauty, love, marriage, harmony, and relationships. Your Mars sign is the planet of minor misfortunes, but it's also about self-preservation, your protective instincts and your survival instincts. Your Jupiter is your enchantment, development, and generosity, as well as optimism and philosophy. Your Saturn is restriction, order, self-discipline, power, all that sort of stuff. Then your Uranus is your innovation, your future, your desires, your inner voice. Your Neptune is all about your intuition, your inspirations, dreams, fantasies, and ideals. Pluto is instincts, transformation, and purification. And your North Node is... I don't remember what the North Node is, but we'll get into the North Node, because my North Node's kind of interesting.
Yeah, little bit of an interesting topic to go over there. No, again, that is the list of the signs and what they... or the planets are what they mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
My astrological birth data, I guess you could call it. My sun is Sagittarius, which makes sense. My moon is Pisces. My Mercury is Capricorn. My Venus being Scorpio, alongside of my Mars being Scorpio. Jupiter is Leo, which is kind of interesting now hearing that back. Saturn is Gemini. Uranus, Aquarius. Neptune, Aquarius. Pluto, Sagittarius. And my North Node being Gemini, which, looking more into it,
and your rising sign is a Pisces.
Right, yeah. I was looking into that. Like Heather just said it, I'm a Pisces ascendant, which, looking into this, it's very, very interesting because they're not afraid to roast you.
No, they're really not. They like to tell you what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, there's actually there's a weakness of the Pisces ascendant and the strengths of a Pisces ascendant, which I won't get into maybe I'll touch on it a little bit, but I won't, The Pisces ascendant, people with Pisces ascendant are susceptible. They have a good feel for sentiments of their fellow human beings. They're incredibly compassionate and feel connected to everyone. Which, I mean, sure. I mean, again, looking over this whole article, I'll probably have a picture of it on screen. If not, I'll go over explain a little bit of it. It says they can defend themselves badly against external influences, and they're easily vulnerable, which is thanks, honestly. And then again, listing the strengths of the Pisces and the weaknesses. All of this is super interesting though, because I mean, I didn't know it was this deep. Initially, I never knew it.
It's very deep. It is so deep that people will genuinely shun off relationships with certain signs just because they don't like the traits, the red flags, or there's a whole thing about star sign compatibility of some signs just really don't merge well with other people's signs. And
I think there was a TikTok of a bunch of red flags, and I forgot which one it was. It was God, I think it was either Taurus or Scorpio, or not Scorpio. It was Taurus and something else that's red flag. Boom, the star sign. I'm like, damn. It's they got no remorse.
They like to say that about Aries a lot. If you have an Aries sun, because apparently it means you're really aggressive and impatient. Which, impatient? Okay, sure, I'll give them that. But right. I don't know, I'd like to think I'm not that aggressive. Unless I need to be, obviously, but
Right.
Yeah, so it said that I don't think that I was an unemotional child. I wasn't overly emotional. I didn't have crazy bad emotions. I couldn't control them. But
Right.
I did cry over really stupid things. Like, I was very easily jealous, which is probably, like, my worst trait, which is the one that I've tried hardest to work on. I was a really food possessive child, and I don't know why.
You said food possessive?
Yeah, like a dog. I,
Fair enough. I mean, hey, yeah.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
anymore. Sharing is caring for me now. Like, I'm good. But
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
I used to be really bad.
Right. So let's move on to manifestation because we'll probably come back to astrology to touch up on in the
Yeah.
end. However, moving on to something a little different, we have manifestation, which I personally learned of through TikTok. I'm not proud.
So did I.
Yeah. Um. Basically, what it
Which is
was.
probably not the most educational place to learn about it.
No, definitely not. However, in the basic sense of it, it's like
I think manifestation and affirmations are kind of similar. It's speaking things into existence or believing things into existence. So, an affirmation is to affirm something, is to state something that is true. When applied to the spiritual life, an affirmation is a statement of truth which one aspires to absorb into his or her life.
right. Basically, what it was on TikTok is people speaking things into existence or manifesting them into their life, which, I mean, on the broad sense of it, seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from the outside looking at it, it seems nice. However, I mean, depends on how you really feel about it. I've
It has
found
its
that,
conflicting thoughts.
right. I found it conflicts with my religion, which, I mean, interpret that as you will. I'm not going to, like, I'm not going to completely rule it out for everyone because of that. However, for me, I like wouldn't see myself practicing it really. I mean, I have too many questions about it to begin with. Um One for me though is the ruliness of it, I guess. We've talked about this already. However, again, the ruliness of where's the limit, where's the bar, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we talked about how it can only be like for selflessness, I think you said.
Yeah, there seems to be, from the research that I've done, there does seem to be rules in place of, of of what you can and can't do, and if it's, gonna harm people.
Right.
So I've for this episode, since this, religion, I guess, even though we didn't talk much on religions more close to home, it was kind of your feng shui more and stuff that you knew more about. I challenged myself to get out my comfort zone and to try these different things. So I attempted shifting and I attempted manifestation and all of this sort of stuff for the sake of the podcast, so that I could talk about it and share my personal findings. So quickly, to detach from manifestation, because it's going to take a lot longer for me to go into shifting, unsuccessful. I'm pretty sure it's just lucid dreaming.
Yeah, which in the instance it
it's
does
what
seem.
it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like a more. I wouldn't
Controlled lucid dream.
Yeah, something more or less like we talked about in the dreams episode. It's not as easy to break, I guess you would say. So,
and just because I haven't successfully done it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and so I might be completely wrong, and it might be a thing that I've just not experienced. But being the Marvel nerd I am, I did attempt all of my times that I attempted shifting. I attempted it maybe 3 times, and every time I attempted it, I attempted to go to the MCU. I wanted to wake up in the Avengers Tower, and I had a bunch of superpowers that I scripted myself to have. So I think with shifting, you have to write out a script of like who you're relatives are in this parallel universe, what your weaknesses and strengths are, and your skills and stuff like this. I was pyrokinetic. I could control fire, which is what I wanted. I never successfully shifted, so that didn't work. But it does just seem like believed lucid dreaming. The thing I first saw about it on TikTok was Draco Malfoy TikTok, which I don't like Harry Potter, so I don't know why it sent me there in the first place. But it was basically a bunch of, to put it lightly, a bunch of kids trying to shift to Hogwarts to sleep with Draco Malfoy. And I was just like, okay.
Oh,
and some of them thought it happened, or have claimed for it to have happened, and have these relationships in another universe with these characters. And
does that? No, I won't.
Fair enough to them, I guess. But it does just seem like lucid dreaming. Which have also never successfully done, so...
Does that mean I can have a waifu girlfriend?
You can apparently go to any universe that exists. It doesn't have to be fake or fiction. It can be real, it can be, like... If it is thinkable, if it is comprehensible in your mind, then apparently it exists. And so you can go there. So yes, you can go... Like, there have been people that have gone to Attack on Titans.
What? Out of all the places you could go, why would you go to that anime? Oh my god. I don't know. You are a psychopath.
I don't watch anime, but like it seems like it'd be terrifying because I've seen some of the characters look like. Big skinless man. Just
no, like there's literally human eating titans in Attack on Titan. Like, why would you go? They live in once. I rest my case.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get gonna get a freaking waifu body pillow and like to better the practice of the script. Bro.
It was it didn't successfully work. So for shifting, I'm gonna say it just not a thing for us that we've experienced.
Right.
So we can't say much more on that. But manifestation. So I attempted a couple different types. There are some things called Grabavoy codes, which I don't know too much on, but they are allegedly cheat codes of the universe.
Right.
Like up, down, left, right, A, B, A, B.
Oh my god.
It's a bunch of numbers, and you can chant them. You can. One method that I don't know if it worked. I feel like it worked. I wrote. If you've seen sometimes in my streams or on podcasts that on my left wrist I have had something here. It has been the numbers.
No chance.
It's been the codes. Yeah. And so here's what I'll say about this. So I used 2 out of curiosity. And, these things don't always apparently see instant success. You still have to work hard and do what you need to do to get to that path. It just kind of, I guess, puts you on that path, if that kind of makes sense. So the 2 I used were for wealth and fame. And the way I'm trying to look at it is that it doesn't gauge the amount that you get as to wealth and fame. So the money one, the wealth one, I'd seen a lot of people on TikTok use it, and they were like, oh, I got $5,000 in like a week randomly, or like someone randomly just gave me $200 today after using the number and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, do you know what? Just for the sake of it, I'll try it. So I wrote the number on my wrist, and I streamed.
Right.
And I earned $400 in that stream.
I was there for that stream. I witnessed
the most I have ever made in any stream. It's the most I've ever, like, up until that point, it was more than I'd ever made in my entire, like, ability of being able to earn on Twitch. I
As a
earned more in
creator.
that one night. Yeah. As a creator, I earned more in that one night than I had previously earned across my entire just journey of content creation, which was weird that like that randomly happened out of nowhere after I had used the code. It was a little scary, to be honest. And then another instance, I used the Fame one, which was a lot more recently, and I had the most viewers I'd ever had, or most average viewers that I had had in a very, very long time. So my peak viewership on Twitch has been around 60 people in one go.
Right.
And my average, unfortunately, kind of sits, I mean, gratefully, I'm happy even if there's one person, but, you know, it usually sits around like 3-4 people, that sort of mark. That stream, I peaked at like 15 and kept a steady 10 for pretty much 5 hours, which was weird. I had a bunch of new followers as well, and I also earned $160 that one night, which was, yeah, it was weird, because I don't want to think that I got that because I used a code, you know. I'd like to think that I got that because I earned it. Though in reality, really, when you're playing video games for people on the internet, you never really truly feel like you earn it, I guess. But that might just be my imposter syndrome seeping through. But yeah, it's hard because you don't also want to rely on that sort of stuff for your success. But it's very weird how those instances where it was used, those events happened, and then every other time that I had streamed and didn't do stuff like that, it was just a normal average stream.
Yeah, it's interesting that you have those examples. Again, props to you, regardless of whether that be the code or, again, I believe you genuinely would earn that, so congratulations to you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm still in disbelief for it, to be honest.
Sitting here thinking of it now, it's like, again, that presents the question to me again. Would it just like, if I were to practice that, would it even feel like I earned it? You know what I mean? Like, because I've seen creators that have been in the community, like FaZe Rug, I've seen FaZe Banks, I've seen, I guess that's too FaZe consistent, but like
old titans on the platform that have gone from nothing to growing a multi-million-dollar organization.
Business. They've claimed, they're like, I've seen explicitly FaZe Rug say manifestation is real, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? So it's like, I won't say it's like discrediting, but it would feel discrediting to me at least. Like, I would almost create that sense of, yeah. I mean, regardless though.
The way I'm trying to look at it, and I might be completely wrong because I'm not the end-all be-all on this sort of stuff, and I'm by no means an expert, but the way I'm trying to look at it, I guess for my own sanity almost, is that by using these codes, by speaking these things into existence, it doesn't take me there without earning it. It puts me on the path that I need to follow. It means that I don't follow another path, if that makes sense. Like, it sets me on the right path where I can just keep walking forward and do what I do to get to my destination, instead of possibly being led down a wrong road and end up not where I want to be, you know?
Yeah.
So almost more a guide to secure your future more than anything. But it's weird, you know, part of me thinks that it's just a strange coincidence. Because there are other things, like some people out there, this is not something I've done because I think this is extremely strange. No offense to people that do it, but some people manifest relationships. Or like their crushes.
We talked about this.
And I feel a little bit uncomfy about that.
Yeah, I seen for an example to not to the contrary, to this exact meaning. They manifested their exes coming back to them, which I mean, I guess this kind of plays back on believing that we all have a connection again to my astrological chart. I feel like people that have come and go out of your life serve as a purpose or a learning like a point of learning. And
Yeah.
that's hard to my bad, sorry. My mom came in because it's starting to rain and I don't know. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Everything all good?
Yeah. What was I talking about? I mean, it may be wrong to believe that some people serve just a purpose for like a learning point for you. That may be, I think there's like some negative to that. I'm not sure, but like people that have gone and come out of my life, whether that be through death or just drifting, I've learned from. Like, and I'm thankful for the part they played in my life. You know what I mean? Whether that be through teaching me something or helping me come to some realization about myself, it's been again parts of a story of growth or progression. So I don't in turn see it as very natural for manifestation of returning someone to you, if that makes sense. In that aspect, maybe.
I mean, things like relationships, the way I like to look at it is like, if it's meant to be, then it will happen.
Right.
Without it being forced in any way or whatever, you know. And I almost probably shouldn't think that, because like I've been in a relationship with one person, and it was on and off for 5 years. And I mean, we're friends now. We're on very, very good terms. She's a very close friend of mine. I still care deeply about her. I'm not in love with her anymore, but like, I kept running back, and we, like, you know, it's weird. No matter how many times I block her, she blocks me, we argue, we, you know, find our ways apart. Look, I was like, this was young, immature Heather, so I did my business to try and move on, probably in not the most healthy ways, but yeah, you know, we always found our way back to each other, but not necessarily in a relationship form. So I think if things are gonna happen, you should just let life take its course. In the instance of keeping people around, I think fighting that hard to almost force something to happen that might not be authentic is gonna do more harm than good in the long run.
I agree. Again, that's just our takes on it. That is not meant to be the end all say in the matter. Again, if you are to practice any of the things we've talked about so far, do it at your own, I don't want to say risk, but do it on your own time. Please research it.
And never ever do anything for the wrong reasons. Don't do any of this sort of stuff to smite someone or to bring bad upon someone. Only do this if you want to bring good to the world. Because for me, like, as much as I did this for an experiment, the whole fame one and using that and trying to I guess bring more people to the platform is so that I can bring a safe community, a safe space for people, and much like we talked about before, an educational place for people to learn and hopefully be able to better themselves and be comfortable. I don't want, you know, at least for me and my platform, if I were to ever, you know, make it big on Twitch and, you know, gain an exponential following, I wouldn't want it to be a toxic place. I would only want to gain that to bring good.
Right.
It's very grey, I think, for me. The best way to describe it is it's a grey area. I'm not no. I'm not fully believing. I'm not going to say that it doesn't work because, you know, there is proof in front of me that I'm kind of denying that it might work, but...
Right. And I mean, to each their own.
Exactly.
I'd reply with it. I'd reply with that. You have a better chance of it being seen by the majority, yeah?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, that means then I have to box someone. I've never been in a physical fight in my life.
Fair enough.
The only thing I've thrown a punch at is like inanimate objects. Example A. I don't know if you can. Where's my? I don't know if you can see that bruise on my hand right there.
Oh, I can.
I was playing Valorant. I got really frustrated, so I just.
No chance. Have you ever been in a fight?
Never. I've argued a hell of a lot. Like I can verbally go there, right, but physically I've just never it's never happened. I'm not that fussed about that though, you know. I'd like to think that's not a bad thing that I've never had to physically get in a fight before. I've diffused fights.
Oh yeah yeah. I
have you ever gotten in a fight?
Once or twice, but like it wasn't nothing like knockdown drag out. It was like the beginning of an altercation. Just had to like,
oh, a little bit pushy.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Haven't lost, though.
We take those. Yep. That's what Bryce said, though. I've been in over 40 street fights.
Still got his ass
I'm
beat.
A fighter. Someone said he has a dick neck. If you look at the picture of him when he was, like, there, his neck looked like a throbbing...
You see where Gib got overruled?
Vady just... I'm so glad it got overruled and he got given the win.
So am I.
He deserved that win. Did you see Bryce's hairline as early when he got punched? It was like back here.
Oh my god.
I keep seeing edits on TikTok of them just making fun of, like, you know, at the start of the match when it got really close to his face and he was like doing this with the gum shield and stuff and he looked really goofy. Everyone's like, why does he think he looks attractive here? And it's just him like... And he looks so goofy. So, what in your... We'll go back to astrology because there's still so much that we haven't even touched on yet. So of all the, like, planets and I guess their meanings and what they have control over, what to you is the most interesting, like, for you to find out about yourself or to compare to what you're like?
See... we went over that chart earlier where it was like more towards and less than. I think like that would be like seeing be able to compare myself to that is quite interesting. But reading into the Pisces ascendant, like the ascendant, what type of ascendant you are, I think has been the most interesting thing to research because
there's information on that about every single planet, by the way. Like, you'll find information. Yeah. That's why I say there's a lot to go into still, because if you just Google, for example, Aries sun sign meaning, right? Or traits. We'll do traits. So it says here, this is where we're going to see the good and the bad, apparently. So, positive traits include natural leaders, which, I mean, I would agree with. I would prefer to take charge of a situation and lead others than be the one being led.
Right.
Courage, bravery, generosity, concern, toughness, and intelligence go hand in hand with an Aries personality. They have a positive outlook and extremely optimistic ideas. They do not take time to come to conclusions and believe in coming straight to the point. Negative traits, they are headstrong, stubborn, and dominating, which, yeah, I'm not even gonna deny that. Impatient in nature, which again, yeah. They tend to argue over the smallest issue and always believe that they're right. See, younger Heather, yes. But I've gotten better with admitting when I'm wrong and not trying to dispute that. You know, the way I look at it is, if I'm not wrong, like if I'm not definitively wrong, then I will probably try and argue me being right. But if I'm dead set in the wrong, then I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like, I have no problem admitting that and apologizing if I'm in the wrong. But if I don't think I'm in the wrong and there's no proof that I'm in the wrong, then maybe.
Fair enough.
But, I mean, that's just on my sun sign. There's a lot more information on what a Sagittarius Mars traits are, or other stuff like that, which is why I asked the question of all the planets, I guess, which you're the most interested in learning about, because then we can just look into some of them and compare them to what we actually know about ourselves.
For me, let me look, because we had that chart of Jupiter and Leo was mine, so it's okay to be selfish. This is not starting off good. Okay, so for Jupiter and Leo traits, it states charming, playful, larger than life, dramatic, generous, proud, open-hearted, creative, and courageous. Now, out of all of these things, I would not say charming and proud, I guess, are like two that I don't directly connect with. Dramatic, larger than life, and creative, though, those all fit me quite to a T, because I don't know, it's just,
I mean, you are a very creative person.
Try to be. That's the thing, like
this path, it needs us to be.
The larger than life, that's what like ties into like my creativeness, feeds into like the larger than life aspects, because again, how would I put it? I want everything to exceed me, if that makes sense. Like, to go beyond and connect with other people, so other people can also find their own way through it, maybe, in a sense. Let me look. If you were born, you were love hard, play hard, lead hard. Yeah, so something that keeps popping up as a constant is drawing others to me, which not really. I don't repel people, but like Jupiter has an overwhelming presence that can range from optimistic to philosophic to judgmental, while Leo is known to be a fierce leader with a flair for theatrics. I mean, again, somewhat. I guess I don't know if it's really applies to me as a person or what, but still interesting.
What's Jupiter about? Sorry, let me just make sure I know what Jupiter's about. So your Jupiter controls development, optimism, generosity, science, religion, philosophy, stuff like that. So I mean, it seems about right.
Yeah, on that aspect, it makes sense. Again, your chart is different from mine, so you asked me of the planet that interests me the most being Jupiter. But for you, what would be your most fascinating planet?
So my most fascinating planet plays up to my current target of self-deprecating humour, being not able to get a woman or a girlfriend. So for me, my most interesting one is my Venus, which is what rules over your love, your relationships, and stuff like that.
Right.
My Venus is in Aries, and typically Venus Aries. Venus Aries. Some positives are spirited and seductive, which, if you know me, that's not right. That's definitely not right. I'm not good with the ladies, so I wouldn't say seductive is a easy nature for me. But hey, who knows? Maybe I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet enough. Negatives, quick-tempered and possessive, which quick-tempered, I guess it kind of ties into my lack of patience. I try not to be quick-tempered. I try to, keep my cool. But there are times where I unfortunately, as much as I like to deny them being false and that I don't have these bad negative traits, like, I've got to be, what's the word? I've got to be realistic and actually realise, like, I am a little bit, like, I can get frustrated at situations very, very easily.
Right.
And I don't communicate the best at times. And possessiveness, like, again, I suppose if you asked younger Heather, who was trying to, I guess, find her way of had a relationship, who didn't do it very well. Maybe, yes, a little bit possessive, and it came with my jealousy and self-consciousness and stuff like that, but it is something I'm working on, because I do admit and, I see that it is a bad thing and it needs to be worked on. So now, like, whereas I beforehand I would get really, really jealous if, say, for example, scenario, I had a girlfriend, someone hit on him, I'd get really mad. I wouldn't get really mad, but I would get frustrated at the situation. And I would probably try to puff chest out, stay away from my woman. Now, the way that I'm trying to look at it is like, yeah, other people are going to want my woman because my woman is hot, but I have to trust that she wants me, and if I have that entire trust in the relationship, then I have nothing to be worried about if someone else flirts with her, because, like,
right,
it doesn't mean she's going to do anything.
Fair
So,
enough.
that's the way that I'm trying to look at it now, which I hope kind of cuts away a little bit at my possessiveness, quote unquote.
I'm sure it will, but I mean, even to face that instance, you might find yourself, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say how I'll react until it actually happens, because I've been very much single for all of, like, 5 years now, at least, so...
Well...
Oh, no, a little bit less, but, yeah.
Yeah. Still. I'm sure the, preparation and helping build yourself up will help with that quite a bit.
But, some other traits, just... before we go off topic again, of a woman with her Venus in Aries, desires spontaneity and impulsiveness. So, I mean, I would say that that's true. I would like to think that in relationships I don't want to fall into a rut where anybody on either side can become easily bored. When it comes to my day-to-day plannings, I don't like to do things if I can't plan them ahead. I like to be prepared on things. Like, if I'm going for a walk, I'll take a charger, a bottle of water, like a whole survival kit, because what if? I'll always be prepared for situations. But when it comes to relationships, like, when it comes to, like, dates and stuff, if I were to take a woman on a date, I wouldn't want, like, the sit down, watch a movie, or sit down and have a meal or something like that. Like, I'm sure they're very, very good and all that, and great for, getting to know each other. They just seem a little bit boring. Like, I think the best way that you can get to know someone is, like, not your most vulnerable, but, like, something where you can really just have your full selves show into it. So for me, like, theme park dates, going to the zoo, like, cool activities where you can apply yourself.
Right.
and be a little bit adventurous. For me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So any ladies out there watching, that's my list of demands.
A list of demands?
No, I'm so
Oh my god. Wow.
I'm kidding.
Sorry.
North Node?
Oh, yeah, we haven't touched on North Node yet.
No, we haven't. Do you want to touch on your North Node first? Because yours isn't as bad as mine.
Mine isn't
so I feel
as
like
extreme.
mine's not extreme. Actually, that's a lie. That is a lie.
Alright, from my North Node, it is Gemini, and my South is Sagittarius. So in turn, it would mean that my North Nodes are signs of communication and learning. My life purpose could include teaching, learning, writing, and spreading a message, which honestly hits the nail right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Yeah. Right. Again, it's scary how accurate this can be. But the way you would describe a North Node is kind of like a story of your past lives almost. I think that's how I described it. I share traits with who was it?
Maybe not our past lives, because
No.
I don't want my past life associated with the people that my past life is apparently associated with.
Right.
I didn't used to be those people. I refuse to believe that.
No, right, but I think I share traits with, like, who was it? O.J. Simpson. I forgot all the names, but it was just a list of people that I share those traits with, whether that be different signs or I'm not sure what it means in relativity, but it's kind of
O.J. Simpson, George W. Bush, Andy Warhol. I mean, a lot of these people I don't know.
Yeah.
Bertrand Russell, I don't know who that is.
Again, some rather prominent, how would I describe it? People in history. No, but let's move on to yours, because mine isn't all that interesting. Yours, on the other hand,
Okay,
the fire sign.
So my North Node is in Cancer, my South Node is in Capricorn, which I believe are Earth signs. Cancer is an Earth sign. It's one of the two. It's either an Earth or an air sign, because I have no water sign in me whatsoever. But I'm a Cancer, North, the South in Capricorn, and there are a couple interesting people that share those traits. One being Michelle Obama, Brad Pitt, Joseph Kennedy as well are some people known for a North Node in Cancer placement. Not
Right.
some bad people. Pretty, I'll take those.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there are some other people that it is also attributed to. So, forms of past life experiences, you bring with you a strong sense of ambition and pride. In your own mind, you are at the top or near top of an elaborate social caste system. If you are not born into what you consider your rightful place, you may prefer to marry up, which I got no problem with who I marry as long as they're a nice person, But you came into this world knowing how to lead and organise. You can see how that innate talent played out in the lives of Queen Elizabeth II, Fidel Castro, Jeff Bezos, just to name a few. However, I must be careful, because if I do not use my energy to nurture others, but just for the sake of order, you will fall to the dark side. Adolf Hitler, Francis Papadoc Duvalier, I probably mispronounced that, and Vladimir Lenin are some of the leaders whose names are literally synonym with terror and share the North Node in Cancer too. Unfortunately, that's not the only similarity that I have with Hitler. I also have my moon, which is rules over your emotions, is a Capricorn, which is also what Hitler had. Now, I'd like to think that this is not trying to tell me that in a past life that's who I was, because no thanks. I do not believe any of his ideals whatsoever.
No wonder he's came up on the podcast. So I'm playing. I'm kidding.
Other than today, when did I bring him up?
No, there's been like 2 occasions.
When?
Maybe we cut it, but there was like mention Hitler in one episode, and then in another one he just kind of popped back up for like a couple of like a 20-second convo.
But yeah, people with the North Node in Cancer find it hard to shake the need for recognition and may overwork themselves to attain martyrism or martyrdom, or exaggerate the difficulty of their task in order to gain attention. I mean, I would like to think that I don't do that.
I mean, I've never experienced you explaining anything but to its base knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because of a strict upbringing or perhaps just your soul memory, you may not be able to tolerate anything less than total perfection from yourself. That I can agree with. I don't think it was strict upbringing. I never had any, immense pressures put on me, luckily, by my family. They've always been very supportive and just do what makes you happy, and whatever you do, just try your best, and that's all we can ever expect, which I'm very, very grateful for. However, I can't say the same for how I treat myself. I do expect myself to the highest standard, and it does cause a lot of stress sometimes because I often feel like I can't live up to that expectation that I put on myself. I do almost set impossible expectations of perfection, and so it means that I get very frustrated with myself when I can't reach that. So, I mean, I see that. I can agree with that. But, I agree with the natural born leader stuff, as long as I don't try to use it to control people, which I would like to think I'm not trying to do, so I'll take that as a win. Minus the Hitler, I'll take that as a win.
Yeah. Minus the slight, little.
He wouldn't like me, though. He would have, I gay, so he would have, killed me. I would have been one of the targets.
Oh my god.
So
that's terrible.
I would like to think so it wasn't in the plan to talk about this episode, but I thought it would be interesting to bring it up because it kind of links in with everything. Now I don't know how familiar you are with tarot card readings and what they are and what they're about. Essentially it's this pack of cards, and people learn how to interpret them and to read them and to understand what each card means. And all these cards have different meanings. There's notoriously the death card, which doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna die. It might mean a death to an aspect of you, a death to a relationship, like a death to a part of your life.
Right.
An end of a journey, a start of a new one, almost, kind of thing. And there's this girl that I used to live with last year in my university building, and she had a deck of tarot cards, and we all came back from a night out one day. We were all in the kitchen. It was like 7 a.m. I was waiting for a McDonald's breakfast to arrive, and she got the tarot cards out, and she was like, "Who wants a reading?" So me, this other girl, and one of the guys from the floor below all said yes. I had mine first, and it was a little bit scary because at the time my aspirations were to be a teacher, and the cards that I had gotten were around that. And around, how I have a desire to teach. Though I did think I got the death card, which kind of makes sense now that I look back at it, because like that desire's completely faded away out of existence.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of weird to look at. Then the girl had her reading. That's where it started to get a little bit freaky. It was getting really, really personal, and it brought up basically the way that she interpreted the cards that she got. She said a bunch of stuff, and it all just related to this girl's backstory, but like the negatives, and it was really, really weird.
Right.
And then it got scary when it got to the guy. So the guy had the reading, and it was about the one thing that sticks out to me, and I won't name names to obviously respect privacy, but this guy didn't really have a relationship with his father, and that is the first thing that was brought up. And she didn't know. None of us in the building knew, because we didn't really know each other that well at that point still. None of us knew, and it was brought up to a T why he doesn't have a good relationship with his father from the cards.
To a T, like?
To a T, like the guy in prison, like you don't have a good relationship with your dad because he's, out of the picture. It could be imprisonment or something, looking away, and he was like, what the fuck, and I was stood there and I was like,
really?
And then a little bit after, the lights started to flicker, and then that was enough for one night. I was like, I'll get the McDonald's breakfast and I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, tarot cards are really, really weird. Sometimes I guess they're kind of like, when some people have them done as like a way to look at the future, and I know that I have some family members that have had tarot card readings. I think my aunt's had tarot card readings before. Either that, or I've just dreamt that entire conversation.
I think it would be interesting.
Oh no, my aunt's friend, like, she got pregnant, and there was something about like pregnancy in the tarot card readings or something like that, I think. And I like there are these weird correlations with tarot card readings and the future thereon after, and maybe that kind of ties into manifestation, and it's almost speaking something into existence. But it's weird, it's scary, it's literally like bits of cardboard that fly out. So the way that they do it, they'll shuffle these deck of cards just loosely, and whatever cards jump out or fall out of the deck, they are the cards that were chosen for you. Those are the ones that jumped out at you. And there's a formation that you read it, so it's like your future, your past, your present, and like your trajectory almost. And yeah, it's just it's spooky sometimes, but it is weird how they just randomly sometimes link in to real life. And sometimes these instances can be just that, we're looking too much into it and we want to grasp something that might not be there. It's hard to tell with these sort of things, but I do find them absolutely fascinating.
I would like to try it, like how you guys did the card thing. I think that would be interesting, honestly. But again, it had to be the right time, the right place type of thing. But yeah, I do find it fascinating, quite interesting, honestly. So this episode, we've talked about a majority of things, everything from manifestation to shifting,
astrology, tarot cards.
Yeah, there's been a large variety of things. Again, to each their own. If they do practice this, we mean this in no disrespect. Please, if you do intend to practice this, do so on your own research, and please be careful. That's gonna do it for this week's episode. I haven't forgot the schedule, but I'm not even sure what we're touching on next week, so
I do. Next week is Parallel Universes, baby. Yeah.
We're almost at the end of the season, actually, aren't we?
We are. It will be the third to last episode. Yep. It will be episode 10 next week, and then we'll only have 2 more to go, which will be the 2-parter.
Yep. If you're new or returning, be sure to follow and subscribe if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube. Check out our Twitter, which will be linked in the description below. Thank you for listening and watching with us. And yeah, we'll see you next time.